Hey, what is going on, guys? Speer Gaming here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to show you guys how you can easily get 100,000 score in the Nightfall ordeal this week, which is Tree of Probabilities. This is going to help you guys to get exotics, enhancement prisms, as well as Pinnacle rewards. So let's get started. Now, as I mentioned before, we are going for the 100,000 score on the Nightfall ordeal this week. We did do this on the Legend difficulty, which is going to be 1,000 power level. Now, as far as the champions go for this week, you do have Overload as well as Anti-Barrier. There's a lot more Anti-Barrier than Overload, but they do show up there towards the end. You also have Match Game, and of course your equipment is locked, so you want to make sure that you have your loadout ready to go. Now, what we decided to run, I was running Exit Strategy with Anti-Barrier rounds, and I was also running Divinity for the Overload, so I could take care of both champions. As far as your elemental shields you want to worry about, you want to try to have one of each, Arc, Void, and Solar, because when you go through the Infinite Forest, it's pretty much just random what enemy faction you're going to get. And so, for example, on this run, we got Harpies, so Arc Shields happen to be it. But if it was, like, you know, Hive or Fallen or something, the shields might be slightly different. But that's really the only thing that changes. Once you get through that, there is going to be a lot of Void shields towards the end. So Void is definitely one you for sure want to have, because a lot of the incendiaries have Void shields. Now, of course, I'm running Top Tree Tether, Orpheus Rig, you know, all your normal subclass stuff is fine. Now, once you first load into the strike, you want to remember all these enemies at the very beginning. You want to try to kill and grab all the orbs that they drop. You want to make sure to get all of the turrets as well. And once you kill everything that's in this general area, both left and right of the starting point, you're going to have that one barrier champion at the steps. You want to make sure to kill him, and then you can proceed to the next area, actually inside the Infinite Forest.
Down. The geometric data I'm reading from this architecture, it's subtly shifting, like reality trying to decide on a version it likes.
In the forest, time itself is in flux.
Now, as I mentioned before, the Infinite Forest is pretty random. You could get a bunch of Hives, you could get Fallen, you could get Cabal, you could get Vex. So it's really just random, and that's why you want to make sure you have one of each element. The Harpies on this run did have Arc shields, so make sure you have, you know, Arc, be able to pop all the shields. You want to kill as many enemies as you can and make sure to grab all the orbs as you go. You don't really want to dwell too much, but you do want to make sure you get an efficient time, so make sure to kill all the enemies. The end of this portal area in the Infinite Force is going to be exactly the same with all the Cabal, and everything's pretty much normal like the regular strike until you get out of the Infinite Forest.
Looks like the Vex are trying to re-establish control of the forest.
They can try. This forest is mine now.
The Vanguard would disagree.
I didn't ask them.
Now, once you enter this area, it's actually going to be one of the bigger fight scenes. You've got a bunch of ads right here in the middle. You've also got a couple shielded enemies, as well as an anti-barrier right here, right before you jump across the gap. Again, make sure to kill all the enemies, grab all the orbs, and you want to try to stay back if you can, because that anti-barrier boss will melt you. So try to stay in cover if you can. Now, once you kill all these enemies and you jump across the gap, there's actually going to be a few enemies on top of the building, and you'll see them here in a little bit. So you want to send one guy over to the right to jump up there to make sure to kill them, so you get that extra points. If you do go on the left side, you're going to have an anti-barrier on the bottom, as well as a few harpies. But there is actually a hidden champion that's going to be above on the top, and you're going to see here in a second. You want to make sure to kill him as well, just for the extra points, as well as the extra rewards if you happen to kill all the champions.
I've used the forest to create a simulation of your sparrow. You're gonna need it for that ramp.
A ghost can do that.
I just did.
So yeah, once you get to this point and you kill this barrier Colossus, there's actually going to be a Vex anti-barrier, I think it's a Minotaur, is actually going to be above us, and you can see right here on the radar. I saw the ping and I was like looking for him, like, oh, there's actually a barrier champion up there. Oh, it's a Hobgoblin, sorry. But yeah, you want to go up there and make sure to kill him as well, just so you get the extra points. Again, once you move forward to the Sparrow section, you want to make sure to stop and kill all the enemies. There's going to be a few on the bottom, as well as a shielded Colossus before you enter the darker area of this Sparrow section. So yeah, as you're going through this section, I didn't stop. We went ahead. Days took care of the guys behind us. But again, you want to make sure to kill them, because you want to kill every single enemy and pick up every single orb you can. That way you can extend your score for the end. Now, this Nightfall really isn't too difficult as the ordeal. It's actually pretty easy and probably pretty farmable as well. But this guide is going to be going for the 100k 1000 score. That way you can get your Pinnacle rewards. Now, once you move into this last section, there's going to be a ton of Void shields, so this is where a Void is definitely going to come in handy. Longer range weapons might come in handy here as well, so if you happen to be using like a pulse rifle, a scout, or maybe an auto, make sure to watch out for the snipers in the back. You've got this Barrier Colossus right here, so once you kill him, you can move forward. And then you can see right here, this is where we kind of ran into some trouble. So as the enemies pushed up, here Tether worked really well. It popped all their shields. I think I leveled up here and got my super back really quickly. Yep, I just got my tether back. So right here, there's another barrier champion. I went ahead and tethered him. Actually, this is the wanted enemy, so make sure to kill him as well. That's going to give you some extra points. And once you kill him, he's a bit tanky, but once you kill him, you're going to see all the void shields on the other side of this wall. Now, keep in mind of your time so far. Right now, we're at about 11 minutes. But you want to make sure to have void shields for these enemies. And when you get to the boss fight, you don't want to melt him like most people do. You want to make sure to kill all the enemies, because there's tons of champions in the boss room that you can kill for extra score. Now again, you want to keep track of where you're at for your score. We're at about 12.5 minutes. 76,000 is our score currently. So we want to make sure that we're not melting the boss. You can do a whole bunch of damage right off the initial spawn because that's the easiest way to kill the boss. But you want to make sure to not kill him. You want to keep him low enough that you'll get through enemies in each of the boss fight rooms.
So, where's this valley?
Now again, if you are going to try to do this, make sure you wait until the Cabal guy slams, wait a few seconds, and then you can start damaging. We did probably where he had about a third of his health left almost, and then he teleported away instantly, which is pretty good. Now when he leaves, there's going to be a few things you got to watch out for. One, the lasers are going to spawn, but you're also going to have some harpies with arc shields, as well as a champion. And once you kill the first one, there's going to be more enemies that spawn. So this is where actually an overload champion will show up. I believe this is one of the few overload champions in this entire ordeal. Again, in each room, you want to make sure to kill all the enemies you can, all the champions. There's going to be a bunch in the second room as well. And of course, once you damage the boss, he's going to leave. And watch out for the lasers. But that is going to wrap it up for this guide. Overall, the boss himself is pretty easy. If you're used to melting the boss on this strike, you should be able to get him pretty weak like we do at the end, where as soon as we enter the last room, we can just melt him. Now, of course, if you do need more score on the board when you enter the last room, we didn't continue, we just melted him to get the score, but of course you can kill the enemies in that last room and just to extend your timer, or your score, I mean, sorry. But that is going to be it for me. That is how to get 100,000 score on the Nightfall ordeal this week, which is the Tree of Probabilities. If you guys enjoyed this guide, if it helped you out at all, do me a favor, smash that like button, subscribe if you're new, turn on notifications, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching.
Another simulation.
Of course he is. We know the way out. Try not to glitch any more Cabal into existence.